friends. Sorry for waiting. Those who were waiting, my apologies. But I'm going to be completely honest and say that last night I worked until almost 11 p.m. and just wanted to sleep longer. There is no profound reason, no special reason for why I'm late my morning and your evening, later than usual. And I know this week the schedule hasn't been the most consistent in terms of starting at the same time, but let's see. If I continue this, I would prefer to be more reliable in terms of time. But with that being said, that's all the reason more to start this session as quickly as possible and focus. Hot, still too hot. And not really good coffee. Okay. Let's see. In just a second, I want to join my live so that I can see. Okay. Tell me, friends, what will you be doing alongside me? I will have multiple different tasks, so yeah, not the most fun thing to be task switching, but today I cannot just, enjoy 2 hours of creative work before addressing some more some more boring, let's say, tasks. Okay. Umar is here. Hello, Umar. Hello, brother. Okay. I think it's time to begin, friends. Here is, in case might be helpful. What I'm going to do is just quickly review the tasks. Because of working until pretty late last night, around 11:30. Because of that, I made a mistake of not making a clear, detailed list of tasks for today. So I have an idea of what I need to do, but for those of you who have ADHD or think you have ADHD or just are struggling to gain momentum in your work, struggling to focus, whatever it may be, you need to have an outline of the things you need to do and break them apart in as many things as you can. So maybe let's say I want to schedule a workshop for my community, Sisyphus Society. I want to schedule a workshop. So here is what I need to do. I need to, if I set the task, schedule a workshop. That's not enough. I'm not helping myself, because actually what I need to do is select one of the 3 topics that I have lined up, announce it, write the post inside the community, schedule the call in the Google Calendar, take the Google Meet link and update in the calendar of the community, and then take the outline of the workshop, because again I have 3 separate topics. Take the outline of the topic and put it into a new Canva presentation project. So that's actually like 4 to 5 actions, rather than just saying, okay, schedule a workshop. So you are overwhelming yourself by not breaking apart these tasks into as many clear actions as possible, into as many clear separate tasks as possible. So yeah, that's one of the things that really helped me, because I can get overwhelmed. I'm the type of person, I don't know if I have ADHD. I sometimes really relate to people who have ADHD, so I don't even bother thinking too much about it. But we live in an age where simply the pace of our lives, the amount of things that we want to do, the amount of things that we think we need to do, the amount of distractions around us, all of those things make us exhibit some ADHD-like symptoms. And those, now I know that this can be kind of triggering for those who have been diagnosed with ADHD, because I've heard before, like, never compare a real diagnosis with lifestyle, with the effects of lifestyle, things of that sort. So I'm not trying here to get into a medical argument, but just saying, if you are struggling to put it in the most simple way, in the modern terms, if you're struggling to lock in, make it easy on yourself to lock in by breaking apart your tasks into as many smaller tasks as possible. That's it. Let's begin. Okay, friends. This session begins. I didn't say actually for how long. I will aim. Usually I do 50 minutes of work, 10 minutes break, because I will be doing some task switching, and it's not as if I'm going to just focus on one thing. I will try to do 90 minutes rather than 50. So let's see how those 90 minutes go. If I feel exhausted, I will stop at some point. But for now, yeah, 90 minutes. First task is editing the script, for YouTube video, because yesterday I wrote the first draft of the script. So I just, wrote everything that was on my mind. Now it's time to edit. And potentially some more research. Uh, I'm just coming here to to leave a notice that I'm reading my YouTube script. So you might think that, what I want to say, you might be thinking that I'm talking and that you cannot hear me, but actually I'm not saying anything. I'm just practicing my YouTube script. So yeah, that's I came here to say that if you can, if you're thinking that my volume is low or that you cannot hear me, then that's the issue, so to say. For Tom here, Tom, just a second. Okay, Tom, I don't know if you're still here. I would hope that you are. Man, thank you for making an account just to chat. The thing is that these are accountability streams. So these streams I'm just turning on my camera and going about my working day. So this is actually me doing my work that you will later read or hopefully watch at some point. When it comes to chatting and interacting, let's set it up right away. Okay, sorry, I'm getting noticed that actually my microphone battery is low. So let's try to let me try to be efficient. Existential chat. Existential chat is a different kind of live stream where I interact with people, and I'm going to schedule it right now on the spot so that there is no more waiting and anticipation. It's going to take place. It's going to take place on Saturday. So I'm trying to transfer it into Western Hemisphere time where most of you are, is going to take place on Saturday, just a second, Saturday 9, not 9, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. And that's where we can interact. If that's, I understand weekend is a time to have fun and spend it with family and loved ones for most, but I'll do existential chat also next week. So that's it. Ricardo, hello. Thank you for joining once again. LI and beyond, thank you for joining. Tom, thank you for making an account to interact, and I hope I talk to you on Saturday. And yeah, I might take some time after this working session to chat a little bit, but the primary focus right now is to do the work. So yeah, that's it. So moving forward, friends, if you see me appearing as if I'm talking, that's me practicing the YouTube script. Quick note: if we have enough people is really even one person, to be honest. But if anyone is interested, once I'm done, maybe it can be a good moment to share for us. When I'm done editing and somewhat preparing this YouTube video script, I can read it out loud, like, how do you call it, a closed doors premiere, like they do in movies, when they present it just to a select number of people. So yeah, if anyone watching is interested, in around 20-30 minutes, I would be able to give you a excuse me, an unofficial premiere of the YouTube video that is yet to be recorded and uploaded. So if you're interested, let me know. The topic, it should be short. It should be like 7-8 minutes. So if anyone is interested, let me know, and I'll be back to check in 20-30 minutes. Okay, it seems that the microphone is done, so not the best quality sound, but we will work with what we have. we could do the premiere. Let's see. Aha, I think I should do this. Let's see, maybe like this. Okay. But I don't know how well can you hear me. Let me check. Okay, friends. Okay, let me just see. Test. The sound is okay, I think. Enough to hear me, huh? Okay, let's talk about whether your true self can be bad or evil. So as I said, this is an unofficial premiere. Thank you, Ricardo. This is an unofficial premiere of an upcoming YouTube video that I'm preparing. So I thought, because I'm live streaming my working day. So this is something that I would otherwise do talking to myself, practicing how the YouTube script sounds. So yeah, now you have a chance to listen to the video before it's officially out. I'm still not decided on the title, but let's see. Can your true self be bad or evil? That is the overall theme. I want to share a humanistic idea of the intrinsic conscious, as you will soon see. But let's get into it. I will be reading from the screen because I'm still practicing the script. And of course, maybe I'll get some feedback from you if it's too long, too short, not enough explanation, too much explanation. Okay, let's begin. What if my true self sucks? What if my true self is evil, abusive, or just lazy? When writing or talking about authenticity, self-actualization, and becoming your true self, I often get two types of questions. First, what is a self? What does true self even mean? Can the self be true? And the second type of question is the one I started this video with. What if my true self sucks? What if my true self is evil or abusive? In short, what if my true self is bad? Should I then want to become my true self? In this video, I want to address the second type of question. But let me just briefly address the first question, even though I know what I'm about to say might offend some people. Most people who ask what is a self and what does true self even mean are engaging in mental masturbation, pardon my language. I see it as an escape from the responsibility of being authentic. Those are valid philosophical questions. What is the self? And can the self be true? Those are valid philosophical questions. But if you think you want to dive deep into the philosophy of the self, go read Nietzsche's and Kierkegaard's writings on the topic.
and see how much your head starts hurting from the complexity of the topic and the labyrinth you put yourself in. You'll quickly realize if you truly do have the intellectual curiosity to pursue that question. In reality, when us regular people who want to live better lives are talking about the true self, we are talking about something that is much easier to understand. You cannot tell me that you have never felt fake and inauthentic in your life. You cannot tell me that you have never said or done something that deep inside you knew wasn't true to who you are or who you're trying to become. Authenticity and inauthenticity exist. That's all you need to know when we are having conversations about the true self. So yeah, although I'm a philosophy nerd and I'm interested in reading philosophical text with more deeper explorations of the meaning of the self, still I don't appreciate asking abstract questions for the sake of avoiding answers that would demand us to take action. So, for the second question, a more direct one, the focus of this video: can your true self be bad, negative, evil, lazy? The short answer is no. Of course, there are psychopaths in our society. Then that would make an argument that the true self can be evil. But psychopaths are not asking this question. People like you are. Now let me give you the longer answer. A good way to explain why your true self cannot be bad is to look at an idea or a theory by which your true self could be bad. When we show how this idea is wrong, we will proceed to a both more encouraging and realistic view of the self. And you rarely get something that is both more realistic and more encouraging than the, let's say, more widely accepted idea. The idea by which your true self can be bad is the Freudian notion of the superego. According to Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis and probably the single individual with the biggest influence on the trajectory of psychology, your superego is your conscious. It's that part of your mind which guides your sense of right and wrong. I need to cut here, and I have a question: should I dive deeper into who Freud is? Is there any need for me to prolong the video by giving some sort of background on Freud? Or is it just, counting on the fact that most people interested in this topic already have at least heard about Freud? So even this sentence sounds kind of long. According to Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis and probably the single individual with the biggest influence on the trajectory of psychology, then I'm getting to the point. Your superego is your conscious. Is that part of your mind which guides your sense of right and wrong. According to Freud, superego is primarily, and this is the important thing, the superego is primarily the internalization of the wishes, demands, and ideals of the father and mother. At first, this seems like a sound, reasonable idea. Your conscious, your sense of right and wrong, is an internalization of the wishes, demands, and ideals of the father and mother. It seems like a reasonable idea, and it's an idea that's been accepted by many for a long time. But let's see how one small addition to the previous statement can make this idea disturbing and hopefully unreasonable. Excuse me. So let me repeat the idea and just add something to it. Excuse me once again. According to Freud, superego is primarily the internalization of the wishes, demands, and ideals of the father and mother, whoever they happen to be. But what if your father or mother are criminals, or drug addicts, or abusive alcoholics, then what kind of conscience do you have? Or let's say that you have rigid, moralizing parents who hate creativity and artistic expression, or a psychopath parent. If your superego is shaped entirely by their sense of right and wrong, by their values and standards and wishes, what kind of person would you become? If we agreed with this idea, then not only would it be possible to have a negative true self, but it would take a couple of generations to end up in a world full of evil, negative true selves. But what about the millions and millions of noble, charitable, respectable, inspiring people who grew up with objectively bad parents? If Freud's idea of the superego was entirely true, we would be living in a much different, much darker world. However, Freud wasn't entirely wrong. The superego does exist, and it's an immensely strong force in our lives. But it's not the only thing that guides us. Many prominent thinkers disagreed with Freud and his idea of the superego. For example, the greatest members of his school of psychoanalysis, Carl Jung, Alfred Adler, and Otto Rank, all disagreed with Freud. Or another of the great psychologists of the 20th century, Erich Fromm, went on a great dissection of how the idea of the superego is an idea of a authoritarian conscience and wrong. But from all of these thinkers and all of these refutations of the superego, today I want to share with you one of the most straightforward and encouraging ideas opposing the superego: intrinsic conscience. Now I quote, "There is also another element in conscience, or if you like, another kind of conscience, and this is the intrinsic conscience. This is based upon the unconscious and pre-conscious perception of our own nature, of our own destiny, or our own capacities, of our own call in life. It insists we be true to our inner nature and that we do not deny it out of weakness or for advantage or for any other reason," says Abraham Maslow in Towards the Psychology of Being. Another quote, "All the evidence that we have indicates that it is reasonable to assume in practically every human being, and certainly in almost every newborn baby, that there is an active will towards health, an impulse towards growth, or towards the actualization of human potentialities." Once again, Abraham Maslow in The Farther Reaches of Human Nature. You probably heard of Abraham Maslow as part of one of the boring psychology lectures in school where you are taught his idea of the hierarchy of needs in an incomplete manner. And you've been also presented with the pyramid that presents his hierarchy of needs, even though he never drew the pyramid. So yeah, you got familiar probably with Abraham Maslow in an incomplete and unfair manner, but that's another story. Abraham Maslow is more than what you heard of him in school. While psychology of Freud, and most of the thinkers inspired by Freud, was dealing with investigating psychological or mental illnesses and trying how to bring those sick humans, quote unquote sick, back to normal, which is a noble pursuit and necessary pursuit, Maslow directed his psychology to something else. Maslow spent his life exploring the highest possibilities and the farthest reaches of human nature. So, intrinsic conscience It's just one piece of the big puzzle that Maslow was trying to put together. A movement towards self-actualization and full humanness. According to Maslow, and the rest of the, it's important to know, not just Maslow, according to the rest of the humanistic psychologists, members of the humanistic movement, there is an inherent goodness in all people. That's their claim. Inherent goodness in all people, and the will towards growth and development in a healthy way. So what does that, we are putting this picture together, what does this intrinsic conscious do? What is its role? Intrinsic conscious insists that you be true to your inner nature, your unique inner nature. And your inner nature calls you to grow, to develop, and try to actualize your potential. Because even though not all of us have the same potentials, all of us have some potential. Therefore, intrinsic consciousness insists that you not deny your inner nature out of fear, laziness, weakness, or to sacrifice your potential for short-term gain. So the answer is no. Your true self cannot be bad, lazy, evil, abusive. But what I find equally or even more interesting is what happens when we don't listen to our intrinsic conscience. There are, of course, rare cases where people follow their intrinsic conscience, where people follow their true nature since childhood and never stop following it. It's most common with artists and athletes. You know, we have heard of Kobe Bryant dedicating himself to basketball since he was, I think, around 4 or 5. Mozart pouring himself into music since he was 3 until the last day of his life. So there are people who follow their true nature, those exceptional examples, who follow their true nature and intrinsic conscience from the very first day, metaphorically speaking, and never stop following it. But almost all of us ignore this intrinsic conscious for at least a part of our lives. And it's not rare. Unfortunately, today it's really not rare that people spend their whole life ignoring their intrinsic conscious and opposing their inner nature. That would be the definition of a wasted life. A life where you completely betrayed yourself and your soul and everything that you could have been. A tragic life. But back to what happens when you ignore your intrinsic conscious. Again, quoting Maslow. He who belies his talent, the born painter who sells stockings instead, the intelligent man who lives a stupid life, the man who sees truth and keeps his mouth shut, the coward who gives up his courage. All these people perceive in a deep way that they have done wrong to themselves, and they despise themselves for it. Ending quote. This is from Towards the Psychology of Being. So these people who ignore their potential, their destiny, their call in life. So it doesn't always have to be becoming a Grammy-winning musician or Oscar-winning actor. Those are not the only callings in life. You see, here he says it can be as simple as a person who is called to point out to the truth at a certain moment in their life. That is a calling. To be a courageous person when life asks you to be courageous. These people who ignore their potential, destiny, calling, their capacities, they perceive, once again quote, perceive in a deep way that they have done wrong to themselves, and then they despise themselves for it. So back to the original question, your true self, can it be bad? It cannot be bad, but if you have a bad relationship with yourself, maybe it's good to question if you have been ignoring your calling, potential, destiny, capacities. If you have been ignoring your intrinsic consciousness. Maslow, just like Carl Jung, believed that for the majority of people, for majority of their patients, the source of neurosis, depression, anxiety, obsessive disorders, etc., wasn't of biological nature. That they weren't sick in the sense of having a brain disease, having a brain malfunction. No. Thinkers like Maslow and Carl Jung not only believed, they claimed that most people suffered from neurosis precisely because of not following their intrinsic conscious, not answering their call in life. This opens up a whole new topic, which some of you know I've been writing about, and I plan on making multiple videos about, let's call it more broadly, a more nuanced and expanded view of mental health, of psychological health. But for now, I believe we answered the question for today, for this video, and that's: your true self cannot be bad, cannot be evil, cannot be lazy. However, if you ignore your true self, you will suffer deeply. That's it. That's it. That was, I think, way longer than the, what did I say? I said like 7-8 minutes. I think this was way longer than 7-8 minutes, but this was, for those of you who joined in later, this was the unofficial premiere of the YouTube video that I'm preparing. So thank you, Oscar. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So yeah, that is, again, unofficial premiere of the video that I'm preparing. You can let me know what you think. I don't know. When it comes to at the beginning, when I'm presenting Freud's idea of the superego, that is kind of my dilemma. When I'm presenting Freud's idea of the superego, should I take a couple of minutes to kind of give a brief background of Freud and his main ideas? But then I think that really expands the video. I don't know if I'm wrong in expecting people to at least have heard about him, if they are even interested in this topic. So if, you know, I'm thinking along the lines, if people click on this video, people want to listen to what I'm about, you know, want to hear the story of the true self, can it be bad? I'm thinking, okay, those people maybe have at least heard about Freud. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm trying not to make the video too long. And also, when I mentioned Maslow, you know, I took a couple of minutes to say that Maslow isn't the person that you heard about at school, you know, just, you know, hierarchy of needs, this pyramid and nothing else, but a way more revolutionary thinker. Is it necessary? Academy of Ideas, I think it's one of the best gateways into Academy of Ideas. I think it's one of the best gateways into philosophy, psychology, interesting ideas. Yeah, I really respect their work. Although I have to say, I definitely want to do something that is more personal. One thing that I don't have an issue with, but I just cannot understand. Like, it does take, I don't know, does it take a real discipline or emotional restraint, or it takes something to create for so long. I understand. Apologies for shaking. For Academy of Ideas, I don't understand how you can create for so long and never make it a bit more personal. But again, maybe it's a stupid question. They're just trying to provide educational material that will spark, because it you know, that should encourage person to go and read and study those topics deeper. That's what they did for me, because always I would go and study deeper the topics that did intrigue me, but I find it interesting how for 7-8 years they've been online. They never said, okay, this is who I am, this is my experience, this is why I'm making videos about this is how this particular idea has affected me. I find it a bit strange, but respect. Ricardo, okay, lengthwise for you it's not a problem if it's 2 or 3 minutes more, but maybe it's just me. I don't have to take into account a wide target. Thank you, Ricardo. Anything else, Ricardo? Anything that was maybe unclear? Anything that you think needs more for? Ricardo, I wouldn't say you're saying curious but a bit ignorant. No. Listen, the super ego part has to be explained. So I definitely cannot just dive into, okay, super ego, this is why it's not true. Definitely have to explain what super ego is. So that's I was just thinking, like, if Freud, the person, the thinker, if I should besides the super ego, if I should explain a bit more of how important and influential he is. But thank you, Ricardo, thank you. And yes, he's definitely more known than Maslow, so maybe this is a good, balance. Just one sentence, Freud, being one of the most influential psychologists, and then diving into talking about the super ego, and for Maslow a bit more. Oscar, stand out in that aspect. Authenticity is important, creating content. Thank you, brother. And listen, this was no knock on Academy of Ideas, because I understand there are people or groups of people who just want to maintain their privacy and put out ideas out there that they believe are important and interesting. I really respect it. It's just I definitely respect it. I do find it a bit confusing, like, how do you never break the fourth wall? Because they never broke the fourth wall, like in 7-8 years. You have people like, let's say, who am I going to say? You have people like Andrew Huberman. Okay, so it's all about education, right? It's all about he goes on those, especially when he was doing solo podcasts. Like, he does a solo podcast of 3-4 hours just delivering scientific information. But even he breaks the fourth wall and says how something has impacted him, how he has tried this and didn't try this, and this has helped him, so on and so forth. So yeah, just an observation. Thank you for the feedback. Srini's book reviews. Hello, brother. I remember by this username. I remember you from one of the previous lives. Clarity Quest. I'm glad. Listen, I know it's long. I'm fully aware that the lessons in Clarity Quest are long, but they're worth going through. I can promise you that. Lose tracking you have to entropy vicious loop. It is a vicious loop. But here is one thing. Here is one thing when it comes to trying to get back on track. Man, you have to give yourself so much grace when going back on track. Don't compare yourself to when you were at your best. You really have to give yourself so much grace. I cannot stress this enough. There are people who think they are supposed to wake up one day, that overnight they are just supposed to wake up at 6:30, do a killer workout, do 3 hours of focused work and studying, and then eat clean and do zero scrolling, and then do another 3 or 4 hours of creative work. we really need to, when going back on track, we really need to give ourselves grace. We need to be our best friend. We need to be our best friend. Like what would you say to your best friend? What would you say to someone that you truly care about if they were trying to get back on track? You will say like, okay, can we reduce the scrolling today by 10%? Can we, oh, okay, maybe you wouldn't say that. Again, I don't know to actually put my words into your mouth, but maybe you will say, okay, can you do a 5-minute workout today? Can you read one page? Yes, our identity, to tie our identity to work and productivity. Yeah, man, that's the culture that we are living in, for better or for worse. I know that culture has brought about some advancements in humanity, but also I think we hit the point of diminishing returns, and we've been there for quite some time. The obsession with output isn't serving us anymore. Let's put it that way. But yeah, friends, I have to go back to work. Because this was just to share the unofficial premiere of the video that I'm working on. So this stream is, as you see, write or create with me. So let's get back to accountability. Let's get back to doing some work. So for you, Srini, this is time now to, I don't know what you have on your to-do list, but this is now time to, yeah. Oscar, talk to you soon, brother. This is time to do some work and know that someone else is, although not physically besides you, but someone else out there in the world is also committing to working besides you. Statistics doesn't sound fun, I have to be honest. Okay, friends, and also just quick mention, existential chat. So live stream where we will interact the whole time. Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Before I continue work, I have a question for Ricardo. Ricardo, where are you, brother? Because you mentioned that your native language is Italian, and your name does sound Italian. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm completely off the mark. Maybe it's actually somewhere. Ricardo Venturi. Can that be Latin America? I know. I think you mentioned Italian. So my question is, it's either really late at night or early in the morning for you, or are you living somewhere else? Of course, I mean, I know it's a personal question. In Italy right now, man. Wait, I have to check. I have to check time in Italy right now. I know it's way past midnight. Man, 3:30 a.m. Okay. Srini, okay, you and I are on our morning routine. Ricardo, 3:30, and I love that you've been joining me. I think almost every accountability live stream that I've done, but I'm also kind of feeling bad that I am maybe in some way contributing to you staying up, or maybe you would otherwise. Maybe you, anyway, this is your routine where you usually stay up for this late. Srini, okay, 4:30 starting work, man. You are on some type of David Goggins style of routine. Ricardo, okay, for you it's because of the job. Listen, I'm not, how can I say, man, I'm another human who's worked night. I worked night shifts before. I worked, shift work, morning, then afternoon, then night, switching day by day. So I understand all of that. And listen, sometimes in your life you just have to make some sacrifices. You have to make some sacrifices. Imran, thank you, brother. Thank you for the support. So Ricardo, it's not the healthiest or happiest solution to need to be awake at this time, but if it's a conscious decision that it's a sacrifice for your better future, then keep it up, man. Respect to you. And by the way, Ricardo, I found you on Instagram. I had to check. Your artwork is amazing, man. Your artwork is amazing. I would love at some point to discuss your creative project, your creative process, because you are someone who, it's clear you found. Okay, so in writing there is this thing, finding your voice. So writing so that you know you're writing, that you are truly expressing yourself. And it seems like you found that in your visual art. I don't know what the expression is. Maybe it's also finding your voice, but it really looks like that. Okay, this is someone who is doing his own thing. It is clear. That was my first impression. So we would love at some point, because I do plan at engaging with people and even inviting them to join the live discussion with their mic. I know some people are shy, so I know it can be too much to ask from some people, so we'll see. But at some point, in some way, I would love to discuss how to get to the point where you are expressing yourself truly. So not just skill and technique, but finding your own. Again, my vocabulary allows me only to say how to find your artistic voice, but maybe there is another way to phrase it for visual art. Srini is saying what usually works when working for other time zone is to follow the routine of people living in that time zone. Yeah, that makes sense to some extent. Definitely challenging, but all respect to those who have to adjust their lifestyle, and their daily routine to fit into pretty challenging work schedule. Respect to all of you. Ricardo, okay, then I'm counting that you are willing at some point to discuss the creative and artistic process of finding your authentic voice. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Srini, for engaging. And now, friends, I'm back to work now. Definitely, because I'm the type of person who is extremely introverted and like to keep to myself. But when I start engaging with people that I find interesting, then I don't want it to stop. Then I could have 6-hour-long conversations. So I have to restrain myself. Back to this view. Ricardo, if you cannot join on Saturday, we will definitely speak sometime soon. We will definitely speak sometime soon, and I will set up a poll for all of you to vote for next week. When do you want Existential Chat to be? Because this accountability live stream is more of a experiment. But actually, what deserves priority, I believe, is Existential Chat. What deserves priority is for us to engage and to discuss things that you think are interesting and important. So it should deserve priority. It's only that this week I wanted to give this experiment a try. Maybe, or probably I will continue, because once again I'm well documenting what I'm doing, but don't worry that we will not get to interact on Saturday. I'm sure we will next week.
to